Right, bear with me everybody, just get the camera sorted. There we go. Right, hopefully I should be live. You can see me. Let's just, there we go. Let's make sure that is still good. Yep. Everybody see me all right? Bit of a lastminute.com today. Let's just get on my YouTube thingy on here. So, am I live? Scary. Looks like I am live. Right, let's just pop the chat out. So, anybody with me? Just pop in and say hello if you're there. I don't know if anybody's there or not. Just refresh that. Hi, Tony. All right, mate. Got some updates for you in a minute, Tony. Right, welcome to the live chat. A little bit rushed today. Reason I'm on a bit earlier today is we're off out for a pub grub. So we're going for a carvery at my local pub at 2 o'clock. So got to start a bit earlier today. But I'm sure that my viewers in the bottom half of the world, in Australia and New Zealand, will be pleased because it's not. There you go. Speak of the devil as well, not that. Hi, Andy. Vintage Electronics Repair. Good afternoon to you. Just. Yeah, so hopefully the viewers in Australia and New Zealand, down in that end of the world, will be able to view me live. But unfortunately, our viewers in the States, it's a bit early for them. There's my lad, Joe. Hello, Joe. How are you, mate? Waving. Right, got quite a lot to cover today. As I say, off out to the pub at 2 o'clock, so I'm going to have to probably wrap this up about 1:45 today. It might drag on. I've got a lot to cover. If I don't get it all done, I might pop on again later on today, but I will have a few beers on board by then. So I'm on the water at the moment, look. Sad, isn't it? But, you know, I can't be walking up the pub with a few beers on board, so if I don't have too many at the pub later, I should be fine. So lots of things to cover today. What have we got? First of all, let's do a repairs update. This is not scripted. I haven't had time to write anything down this morning because I've been trying to set everything up, but to no avail. So really, first of all, I've been working through a few bits and pieces this week. I haven't had time to do a massive amount. We looked at some of Tony's radios last week. These little portables, pocket radios, I suppose you would call them. So I've got a few updates on these. I think we looked at the Philco last week, didn't we? I think I showed you that I got the Philco working. That was just a recap. That's sprung back into life. It's very miniature circuitry in it. It don't sound that brilliant, to be fair, but it does work. It does work now. In fact, it uses almost identical circuitry to this one, which is the Philco 1964 Thunderbird NT11. So we'll get onto those shortly. Let me zoom you in on the bench a little bit so you can just get in and see what I'm up to here. So bear with me. This is where we all go dizzy. Where are we? There we go. I think that's quite close enough. So, hi Bill. I didn't think you'd join us today, Bill. I thought it might be a bit early. That's Battery Maker. Morning, how are you? Must be what, 7 o'clock in the morning there, Bill? Something like that. So the Ford Thunderbird. Never did get a circuit for this, but to be honest, it's pretty basic inside. And you'll notice that the picture on the front slide for today's live show has got the innards of this one showing. I have taken pictures of it, so I have done a video on it as well. So when I eventually get round to uploading it, I'll pop the pictures on as well. But it does work. And we have got volume now. But as I say, all the lights and stuff I've got switched on, it's going to affect it. So there you go, Tony. That one's done. You're still in bed, Bill. Thanks, Cyberflyer. Welcome to the channel, mate. Well, welcome to the live chat. So, Thunderbird's all done. Good to go. The Magnavox. This one gave me an absolute headache, this did. And again, I'm not sure how far I'd got with this last week when I spoke. Yeah, I think I downloaded the manual, didn't I? Well, I did go through it. Let me just get my bit of paper. This is what I downloaded. And you can see here I've marked in green all the little bits and pieces that I checked through, the lines and everything. There was a few things that were an issue with this. Obviously, we knew from previously that the 2SA160 had gone. That one, I pinched one out of Tony's spare set, which I mean, in my opinion, is in amazing condition as well. Tony said it's not in quite as good. It's got a couple burn marks on the back, but the front face is really nice. It's got the coloured Magnavox logo, which the other one's black and white, I believe. So yeah, it might be, Tony, that you want to swap that front with the front on the other one and have the good back and the good front. Up to you. But what I did, I pinched the 2SA160 out of this and put it in this radio, and it still wouldn't work. I'm not sure how well zoomed in you are, but I'll try and run through. Obviously, I did change all these absolutely knackered, that's obviously a technical term, knackered capacitors. This was a 2SA160. I did order a 2SB something or other from an eBay seller, and they reckon they've sent it, but that was like nearly 2 weeks ago now, and it still hasn't arrived, which is really annoying. I'll leave it a few more days and I'll have to open the case and get my money back. But I pinched that one out, put it in this one, still no good. Now I compared it side by side with the other Magnavox, because there was one, as you can see, all these are these violet coloured capacitors, but there was one that was a little bit different, and it was an RS one, which was newer. Obviously it's not Japanese RS, probably a lot of that stuff is Japanese, but this particular one wasn't. And looking at the circuit, it's actually 100 microfarads, and they put an 8 microfarads in. So when I recapped it, I put a 10 microfarad in, thinking that's the closest I could get to 8. But that's the power rail to the oscillator circuit. So that was obviously causing some issues. It might have even been what's caused the transistor to pack up. So change that one for the right value. Still didn't work. So then I painstakingly went through the whole of the oscillator circuit, pulled everything apart, and believe it or not, it was that, which is a 0.05 microfarad, which I think is 50 nanofarads, ceramic capacitor. Now these very rarely fail, but this one, I mean, it don't need to be far off in an oscillator circuit to throw it out, to be honest, but this one was way out. It was doing all sorts of strange things to my capacitance tester. So hi there, Sean, how are you, mate? So I popped that on, and lo and behold, it sprang into life.
Looking at the squad, at least I know I was really happy with how England looked, and it was like you was there. You know what I mean?
So as you can hear, it's working fine.
Contract number 679.
So job done at last. That one did give me took a lot of time, that one. Unfortunately, it took a long time. So that's the story of that one. Now, I hate having radios that don't work, that look as nice as this one, so I couldn't leave this and not fix it. So I actually popped, I don't know if you can see it, have I got it undone? No, I haven't got it undone. I popped an AF-125 in this one in the oscillator, and lo and behold, it works. So really, I could have probably put an AF-125 in the other one, So, you know, it was that, ultimately it was that little ceramic capacitor that stopped it going. So that one's working as well, Tony. All good and all done and dusted. Now the little Panasonic, that's the RF-511. I couldn't get any circuit information. Bill very kindly gave me a couple things to look up. I still couldn't find it, Bill, in the Sam's folders. Couldn't find it at all. But I have managed to sort it. I've basically got in much better on that switch on the back. I think this was causing the issue, really. I've also bent the little FM tag on the back. The other thing was, I didn't notice it when I first looked at it, but it had a large crack going from here right the way across and dropping down in behind the aerial. So I mean, you can just about see there's a crack there, but I've not put any glue on the outside because it's got like if you can see it, it's like a leatherette look finish on it. So what I've done was I got in the back of it with my soldering iron, sat at about, I think I had it about 200, 250 degrees, and I basically melted the plastic together in behind. Then what I did is put some two-part epoxy in there, just to make sure it doesn't ever happen again. Ah, hi Michael, how are you, mate? Mike, so you're down in New Zealand, Mike, aren't you? 11 o'clock at the moment. Catch it up later, Mike. Cheers for popping in anyway and saying hello. So let's pop it on FM. Now the problem that Tony had with this one was it wasn't working very well on FM. No? I don't know, AM.
To sit on stools. That is
what I will say, this, if you get a chance to pick one of these up, it's so sensitive. It picks up more than picks up more than any of these other pocket radios I've got here, definitely.
That she is sitting on a stool in cattle on hat. A stranger to the dark. We're flying up no ceiling when should we call ourselves somebody?
Apologies for headphone wearers, I didn't know the whistle was coming then.
Paul Merton speaking as the whistle went, came that extra point, and he has increased his lead by 2 over Julie.
So I'm sure Tony will agree that that is sorted. So that's that one done. Now, the one that's been giving me issues at the moment is this one. Now I'm nearly there with it. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. But I'm hoping, and maybe Bill will be able to answer me this, that some of our more learned viewers may be able to help me out. I had to send away for this on online, and I can thoroughly recommend this this guy that does these manuals. I actually managed to get the original Zenith Royal B21 manual, and I mean, it's huge. Look, it's a little tiny pocket radio, but look at all the stuff in this: board layouts, schematics, massive great parts list of everything in the thing. There's even a copy of the printed circuit for the FM antenna board, so if that board got broken you could reprint one from that. Really good. And I'll it's called stevenjohnson.com, but I can't remember what his company's. I think it's called like schematics.org or something like that. But he's got all the Sam's manuals in there, and they're a lot cheaper than buying them direct as well. Not that I'm not condoning buying them direct, but anyway, the important thing is it's got all the alignment data, which is what I was missing. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot of alignment data. But the bit I've been struggling with, and hi Graham, by the way, thanks for joining me. Stephen is good folk. Yeah, this is amazing, Bill. I mean, you know, it came through next day as well on email, and I was expecting just a couple pages, but it's like the whole manual. He's got loads of stuff. So if you've got any American radios that you need schematics for, he's the man. So we'll stick a link to his site in later if I remember. But the bit I'm confused about, I don't really have the gear. I've got a sweep generator, but it's not got modulation on it, so I don't tend to use it. I've not got to grips with how it works properly yet. It's a bit overcomplicated for my use. So I was going to do the alignment procedure using an AM generator and a vacuum tube voltmeter. Because I've got a vacuum tube voltmeter, which is the Taylor that I suppose you've seen in the background. He's just knocking the clock over now. That. See, I have got one of those, although a modern, good quality digital multimeter will do it. It's nice to see the needle go in though. But I understand most of this, but the confusing bit is this dummy load business. So it's basically saying you've got to put a 47 ohm, I'm assuming that means resistor, in shunt with generator output. So I'm not sure what that means in shunt. Is that straight across the like inner and outer? I'm not sure. And then from hot lead, a 0.02 microfarad capacitor. So I'm assuming, because I mean you've got to connect the generator to the base of Q1, which is fine. And disconnect the FM antenna, that's no problem. But where's this dummy load? Does this dummy load go in where the FM antenna was? I'm not sure. So I'm really, at the moment, I'm a bit head scratching as to what that is. So if anybody does know what that means, I don't know. I don't know whether you can actually read that. It's probably a little bit too far from the camera, but yeah. So it's 47 ohm in load, in shunt with the generator output. Then from the hot lead, a 0.02. So I mean, that's pretty standard. That just stops any RF going back into the generator or out from the generator, damaging the generator or the radio. So that's just a decoupling capacitor, but I'm not sure what this 47 ohm in shunt is. So that's that. But I have managed to get a little bit better, because it does tell you on here what the adjustment points are. And in this radio, the adjustment points are little tiny coils that you've got to open up and squeeze shut until you get. It's a bit sort of what we call Heath Robinson, but very, very finicky. So let's turn it on.
Well, that's a lot of fun with it as well. Talking of great songs, you're going to do the Rose Voice Classic. Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
So it is working better. It was.
Share a bit of passion. We have Folk Fever is the name of the album. Band of Lovers, the band.
But if you touch it,
Don't live here anymore. Thank you, guys.
so it is working a lot better. If you remember last week when I had it on BBC Radio 2, which is on 88 megahertz, it was barely audible. So I've got that.
After these particular words, before he was on stage, the game hadn't been invented. So people used to say, well, anyone... You ain't gotta wait for me to give you my...
So it's 99% sorted, but I would like to just give it the once over. I'm trying to use these service details. So that's that one. So that's a little bit more work, but 90% there, I would say. What else have I done repair work wise? I've done the amplifier for the RP37A. That's all in now. If I've got chance, I'll bring that out later and just let you hear it with a rebuilt amp in it. Also, I don't know if Paul's on today. Paul on. Hi Rob, how are you? I had to open it. Oh yeah, the Theakston. I'll be having some in a minute. Rob, don't you worry about that. I'm sure I'll catch up. What's that Wenlock? In parallel? So you're saying on my GR output I need to short the inner and the outer. I'll have to stick it probably in a BNC lead, short it together, and then come off of that with just the one lead. I'm not sure. Okay, let me think. So let's assume this is our lead coming off. So basically I've got to put the resistor joined between the center and the outer. Then I've got to run my positive or my outer from there and there to connect to the radio. Obviously with my inner I've got to put my capacitor. Is that what we're saying? So if that's my from my sector, so I've probably got to make up some sort of lead. So that'll be my ground wire, and that'll be connected to the FM antenna. So when this is the output from my signal generator here, so this is the center pin, and that would be the negative or the outer. Is that what we're saying? So that's how I see it then from what you're saying. So I'm going from the inner to the outer on the signal generator with a resistor across it, 47 ohms, and then coming down to my earth connection with that and my positive with that. I think that's it. Maybe. Anyway. Does it pick up Radio 4? What's Radio 4 on? I never listened to Radio 4 on. Ah, brilliant, Wenlock. I've got it then. We're in business. Bit of a strange thing, yeah. Afternoon there, Nation X. Right, checking in. Popping in and out, time allowing. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for joining me. I don't know where you are. The RP71 C24 was open. Yeah, it had to be one of those, Rob. Rob messaged me in the week on Facebook saying he was looking at an RP71 Harrier, and it was making a thumping noise when he turned the power on. Well, the C24 and C25 are both in the output, or in the power supplied to that output amplifier. So any issues with them, that's what would cause it. Radio 4 long wave. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Oh, it's 93.5, is it? Let's have a look then. Oh, no, wrong one. Oh, Mike, yes, the Shorrock. The Shorrock. Well, I nearly got round to sticking the faceplate on the Shorrock yesterday, but the only thing that stopped me was the fact that I need to polish it first. And I mean, anyone that's tried polishing a faceplate knows it takes a long time. So I just didn't have the time to do it yesterday. Still got to try and work out why I can't get the aircraft band on it though.
Invitation to the dance.
Let's have a look at this then.
You know, 51 months ago, tell us something about abandoned ship starting up.
Well, there we are. That's Radio 4.
And I had abandoned ship. I said, but what about my wash bag? No, abandoned ship was repeating very
There you go,
sternly.
Tony.
So I leapt
Radio
off.
4 does work. Yeah, Mike, the AM aircraft band doesn't work. I've got long wave and medium wave work fine, but I can't seem to get it to receive any frequencies in the air band with the FM button down. So not really sure. I've got it all working up apart from that, really. Yeah, cheers, Tony. All sorted, mate. As I say, I will have a go at that alignment though, Tony, before I send that back, because I'd like to get it right. You know, we've got the manual, so it's worth going through it properly and doing it, not just me having a go at it. get some test gear on it. So what else? Stuff that's arrived in the shop. Well, it's not really a shop, it's a house really, with me stuck in the spare room, jammed in like a sardine. So stuff that's arrived on the bench this week. Firstly, Rob Bond there, that's just been said hello. He actually popped up, I think it was Monday or Tuesday this week. Very kindly brought me a radio that's having some issues that he said I can keep hold of. So thank you very much for that, Rob, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what I did want to show you is some books that he actually gave me. Yeah, Zenith is good stuff, but I've still got this one to do. I've still got to do this one. My little Royal 16. I haven't done it yet. Just done my time, but I'm looking forward to doing that one. That's going to be a lovely little radio. So Rob very kindly not only brought me a radio, he brought me some books, as well. So I don't know if anyone's seen any of these, but this is the History of Robert's 70th Anniversary Edition. It's absolutely mint. It's even got a compliments slip in there. Yeah, it's the history of Roberts, basically, right up to sort of their modern revival range in the very end. It even deals with DAB. I mean, this book was printed in, I think, 90 something. When was it printed? 2001 this was. So thanks very much for that, Rob. Now I have got one of these already. So what I might do, and I'm not 100% sure yet because I'm waiting on a manufacturer, but I might do a giveaway with one of these then. But we'll sort that out. we'll get to that, Sean. So this blue one is basically the first edition of this. Not got quite as much in it, and it doesn't go up to the more modern stuff like the DAB and the revival range. But very good book to have. You know, there's old adverts, letters, it's really anything like that. I love that sort of stuff. He also gave me this, which is the radio that he's kindly let me have, which we'll have a look at in a minute, which is the service manual for the Sovereign 2. There's also operating instructions and amendments in this as well. So there's probably some info in there that I haven't actually got myself, and the schematics are A3. So that's a really good, very well put together manual. I can't remember who he said did that. Hi, Simon. Well, we ain't covered much yet. And sort of the icing on the cake that Rob let me have was this one. Now, if you collect radios, or you want to know about the history of radio, this really is a sort of like the Bible of the radio collectors world. I doubt whether there's many collectors in the UK that don't know about this book. It's written by Jonathan Hill, Radio. This is the second edition. I have got one of these, but I don't think I've got the second edition. I think I've got the first edition. But yeah, it's often referred to as RR in the forums because people were on about page something or other of RR, and I never knew what the hell they were going on about. I thought it was some trade manual or something, but no, it is Radio. And inside here as well, which is really nice, it's actually a limited edition of this is number 301, and it was signed by Jonathan Hill in 1993. And I think mine is also signed. But it's a lot of pages. I mean, it goes up to page 244 there. Basically, you can go through here and look up your radios. It tells you all about batteries as well. So that might be good for you, Bill. So, you know, it goes right back 1929. Just goes through the years. Some familiar looking Rising Sun radios there. I mean, I haven't got a lot of Volvo stuff, but I got some. Mine tend to be a little bit more modern than this, but and later on in the book it goes into transistor stuff as well. It talks about the transistor radios, and also it's got quite a nice write-up on the first. There's that bush there that Andy sent me, that TR91. So I've actually got one of those here. It actually has got quite a big write-up on the very first transistor radio. Where are we? Here. Yeah, so this PAM, I don't know if you can, if I'm in shot there, but this PAM radio was the first UK transistor radio back in 1957, was it? 1956. I say the American TR1 was at 1954, which was the very first ever transistor radio, so I'd love to have a TR1. Very nice. So yeah, that book, well worth getting hold of. I won't be giving that away, but I will give away a copy of my Roberts Radio 70th edition. I'll just have to work out how I'm going to do that. So that was that. So let's get the radio up that Rob let me have. So there we are. Robert's very kindly given me this Roberts R25 or RP25A. Sovereign 2 was one of their best radios. A lot of people say this is the best sounding Hacker. Everybody's got their own opinions. For me, it's the Sovereign 1 RP18 I like best. A lot of people say the Hunter is really good. I've got quite a few Hunters here and they do sound awesome, but I think these have got a better tone to them. So I've not tried this one, so I thought if we've got time, let's get some power on it and give it a go. What do you think? So that's that one. So thanks again, Rob. Thanks very much for that, mate. That's going to be a cracking radio. It's in really good condition. I mean, the back has come off at some stage, but someone's put a couple screws in really neat, actually. I've not seen anyone done that neat before, so if you did that, Rob, that's a good job, mate. So I might take that off and fix it. You've all seen how I fix these with a bit of copper. So some info from Bill there. The TR1 was more of a stunt than a real working radio, so it wasn't very sensitive. It's made a couple of miles from where I live. See, I always thought them little radios are made in Japan, Bill, but the very early ones were made in the States, weren't they? Yeah. So shall we put some power on this? Mike, Radio Station X, is saying, yeah, let's do it. So let's get some voltage going here. So it's an 18-volt set. So Rob did say to me that the amplifier is got some issues with this one. I need to move that car out of the way because I don't want to damage that in any way. He did say it's got some issues with the amplifier, so we have got an amplifier that I prepared earlier, ready that can go into that. So again, I've not tried this radio yet. Not at all, so this is going to be its first test. Just had a chance this week. I've been out doing photography as well. Been busy. So I've got my power supply on current limit, so I know if it's got any shorts or if it's drawing too much current. So let's pop it onto VHF, or bother into station muting. Let's pop the aerial up and get it past my light. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see that. I can't view my feed, but I can actually. Yeah, I think you should be able to see that. Yeah. Yeah, they're really well made, these radios. I think this is from about 1960, 69, something like that. What's the date on this book? 68, that's the date of that manual. So it's late 60s, this. But I mean, it's modular. You've got the FM IF board here, FM RF board, AM IF board, and we've got the amplifier board. So, you know, you can pinpoint where the problem is pretty quick. 99% of the time it is the amplifier, because these old capacitors go wrong. If you don't catch this early enough, you can actually damage the transistors. And the Herald VHF that I had last week, I actually had to replace 2 transistors. In fact, I did 3 transistors in the end. You're a couple of years old when that was made, though, eh? I've only ever had one Simon that's had tin whiskers in the output amp, the audio amp on these. Only ever had one. Never had any problems really with AF-117s. Saying that this is a newer one, Simon. This is the 25A, which has got the lock fits in it, not the AFs. Yeah, I expect we're all pretty. Yeah, the IF silicone on this one, Simon. This is one of the newer ones. We're all pretty old. I'm 26. Looking good for my age, though. Right. So I've got it powered up. Let's turn it on. Okay, it's gone off on current limit, but I think it's just because I had it too sensitive. Okay. So you notice there on minimum volume there's a fair bit of noise. Bit of a hum and a buzz. I mean, that should be quiet on 0 volume, so this definitely is an amplifier issue. Sometimes it can be this little plug. A lot of problems are caused by this little plug, so let's turn it up a little bit. I will try and keep them up, Bill. You can hear that is really distorted. So if you're wearing headphones, look out, I'm going to turn it up. That doesn't sound too bad, really, actually.
Burling backwards with beards and looking far too hot in their check shirts.
Interjecting mutant's not working either, but that's an easy fix. Hi Benji, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining me. Yeah, we have definitely got some distortion in the amp. Not a lot though, to be fair, but we have got some distortion. So let's try it. I've unplugged the power. Let's try it with my rebuilt amp, and you'll get an appreciation of what these things actually sound like. These are amazing radios. I was watching Andy's video, Vintage Electronics Repair, the other day, and he was saying about the differences really between the axials and the radio capacitors. I mean, I think back in the day, axials were more popular. Whether the very first electrolytics were axials, I'm not sure. Now, hopefully I won't get a copyright strike, Graham, but not really too much of an issue if I get a copyright strike on a live stream, because you're managing to watch it live. I'll just lose any monetization on it, so that's not an issue. Not too worried about that. Yeah, so all I was saying about the axial capacitors, I mean, today they're a lot more expensive than radios. I put them in stuff if I'm restoring something to a high level, or if I'm restoring it for myself, because end of the day I'm not paying any labor costs myself, so I can put whatever I want in, really, I suppose. But I think back in the day, axial capacitors were the norm, and radios weren't very popular at all in England anyway. That's why Hacker have used like nearly all axial capacitors, isn't it? So yeah, I don't think they were cheaper back in the day. I don't know. So hi, I thought you were from Holland there, Jess, but it's Helland in Cornwall. How are you, mate? Thanks for joining me. So Helland's not a million miles away from me. I think that's down Redruth way, isn't it, somewhere? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's fire this up then with this rebuilt amp. And all I've done to this, I've recapped it. It's got BC 109s in there for T1 and T2 because they're lower noise. I put all new resistors in it as well because they'd all gone high. You didn't actually have to have new resistors, but I like to put them in if they've gone high because they will eventually damage your transistors. Yeah, not sure, Benji. I'm not sure what the story was on axial capacitors, but a lot of like the Roberts stuff and that from the 70s and earlier had all axials in them. In fact, most of the British stuff did. Hi, Mark. How are you? Thanks for joining me again. Right, let's give it a fire up with this this amp. So headphone wearers, be aware, be wary. Turn the power on first would help, wouldn't it?
No, I love you. I'm here to watch all the acts. I'm so excited. And
who are you introducing?
Well, I love the fact that you brought that up. All Saints.
Oh.
And All Saints are my life because well, that's a slight exaggeration. And it would,
well, that's radio
yeah,
too.
they wouldn't want me to go anywhere near them because I would physically mount them. But I have always loved them. And they were revolutionary. I remember when they came out, they were girls wearing flat shoes and camo jackets. And they're back.
Wanted to play some Scott Joplin, and you can probably still play the beginning of The Entertainer, or in my case, the Maple Leaf Rag, but in a horribly simplified arrangement. But this piece, this was used in The Sting briefly as of course.
Tone is amazing on
great Scott Joplin moment of the 70s. But I think this is a particularly beautiful piece, and also nowadays it also hugely reminds me of my mother.
Lots of octopi hanging in the flame. There are dripping pans underneath. He's collecting every bit that drips off the end. Oh, he's taking the octopus off the hook and just tossing it in its own.
No, they are good. They are fine, Simon. I've just been messing with them. It's quite
well. The whole point of this thing now is I think it's getting to be less and less meat over time.
That's
as it
flat
becomes
bass.
More and more about fire.
Fire cooking
treble. Exciting and
that's both flat.
And adds flavours. And why shouldn't it add flavour to a turnip as well as it adds flavour to a steak? These guys really, really get that.
Full treble.
Now it's being, of course, photographed, and where it'll be sent out on Instagram, which is a modern restaurant. Is this for us? Can we have a dig?
Yeah.
That's a speaker
Absolutely
vibrating.
amazingly delicate flavour. There's some chili in there as well. Amazing citrus flavour. And so tender. The whole idea of just chucking a prawn on the bar.
Number 13, bus stops right outside the centre. It's definitely worth giving Margaret a call because they
That's
do offer
vibrating stuff on my
subsidised
desk.
taxi
That's not the
service for
radio.
members or anyone over.
Peace Orchestra optional extra. Find out more with a test drive at an Audi centre. Audi, Vorsprung durch Technik.
Sell your home for more money than it's worth.
I think that's enough of that. We can definitely say that that amplifier is all that needs doing on this one. And I've got a great little radio then, so cheers. Thank you very much, Rob, for that. It's going to take a little bit of doing that amp. I mean, the noise at low volume is possibly one of those transistors. In fact, it's almost definitely one of those transistors, TR1 or 2, I would think. Sorry, Wenlock. I did warn headphone users, beware. I like to have stuff up loud, much to the dismay of my missus, but you know, got to keep the neighbours on the toes. So let's pop that one away. So again, that's going to be another amplifier rebuild. Pretty straightforward on these. Let's say the noise is probably the TR1 and 2 transistors, one of those gone noisy, or it could be the horrible old carbon resistors. What size speakers in that radio? It's a large elliptical one. Have I got one? Hang on, I might have one out of a radio. Yes, I have. Here's one that I prepared earlier. So that's the speaker that's in that radio. And for those that size matters for, it's 8 inches by 5. So it's a monster speaker. This is why they sound so great. That combined with that amplifier really is what makes us hackers. And the wooden case as well. That's 15 ohm speaker. This is one out of another one of mine. This is a Goodman's. I think the Goodman's were, with the screws in them, were deemed to be one of the better ones. Simon will know probably more on that than I do. Yeah, I think Rob did say that he bought that radio just for the VP408 hacker power supply. And if no one's seen one of those, I've got one up there somewhere if anyone wants to see it. It's up there somewhere. Celestian, yeah. Celestian was the other one. And didn't they do another one as well, Simon? There's a couple different variations on the manufacturers as well, weren't there? Because some of the Goodman's ones didn't have screws in or only had one screw. And how are we doing for time? 12:46. Got an hour yet. Plenty of time. I have an RP38 which needs a new chrome-plated multi-pull. Is there one available? Yes, there is. One of those, Benji. Now this is Chinese aerial, but it is quite long. Let's get the measure out again. Now I think I bought 20 of these, so it's sort of 45 inches, just over 45 inches long, which in modern money is 1.15 meters, fully extended. That will fit through the faceplate of the Hunter. Got a Hunter over here. It's sort of, I've got two Hunters in here at the moment for some reason.
When you need a little love, got a little love to share. 1, 2, 3, they're gonna run back to me.
So that's a Hunter, but yeah, that area will fit in there. You might need to very slightly increase the hole going through. But the original aerial has got a different top to it, but that's not a million miles off. It looks better than the flat top aerials like the other radios use. And you'll find that on eBay. If you search eBay for 10-section telescopic aerial, they're from China, so they'll take a while to get, but they will fit most of the hackers. What you will notice though is they're not as long. They're not as long, so it's going to come to about there. But because you've got the P-clip, it'll still hold in place fine. No issues really, it just doesn't sit in the socket on the amplifier. So yeah, that's that one. Hopefully that's sorted that one for you, Benji. So 10-section telescopic aerial on eBay, and you'll find those. Okay, let's get my chat back up. That's disappeared for some reason. Got to get the carvery in a minute. I've got another radio lurking on the back, and I'm not sure that I'll have time to fire this one up, but let me just quickly show it to you. This, believe it or not, is an old Ultra radio, and I got paid. Hopefully everyone can see that. Let me just double check that I'm in shot. Well, I'm in shot now. Tell you what, I've got so many pages open on my iPad here. Incidentally, talking about computer issues, a couple of you said that that you'd sent me emails and not got a response. Well, my lad was the one that set my website up, so I had a chat with him, and there was some sort of issue with the website. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but basically I had about 250 emails stuck in there. Most of it was spam, but there's about, I think I counted 24 emails from customers, so I have replied to all them. Yeah, I ought to get some commission for that, Benji, didn't I really? But anyway, getting back to this one, I'm not going to fire this one up quite yet. It depends. I'm going to see how I'm doing for time, but I've done a bit of work to this to get it so as I can fire it up today. This is the case of it. It's a lovely Bakelite radio, and I think, well, I know it's an Ultra U626, I believe. I've got some info on it here somewhere. Yeah, it's an Ultra U626 Troubadour from 1949, I believe. I'll go over it quickly, but I'm not going to fire it up quite yet. Basically, the speaker had two puncture holes in it, one here and one here. So I put some tissue paper and PVA on that to secure it. It's made it a little bit stiff, so I suspect that I'm going to have to buy a new, well, not buy, I'm going to have to try and find a speaker I expect to replace this one with. It's a Goodman speaker, so it's a nice speaker. Not sure how many ohms it is. Let's have a quick look. So if anyone's got an old Valve radio knocking about, I don't know if the Goodman speaker, well, I think it's a roller speaker in the R200s and that. I think that's the same output, and it's a 2.5 ohm speaker by the looks of it. So I may need that. To say, if we get a chance, we'll have a go at firing this up. If anyone wants to see the back of it. For all you Volve enthusiasts, I'm not. Am I a Volve enthusiast? Not really. I'm transistors mainly, but I do have a few Volve radios. So it's a 4 Volve and 1 rectifier radio. I believe the rectifier is that one. And so I think it's Volve. They obviously got the smoothing capacitor there, the filter capacitor. Then we got V1, 2, 3, and 4. I've had to tighten this one up because that one was floating around. Someone's been in here and done a lot of work, so I've been sort of checking through it. It all looks fairly good, to be honest. Well, I would probably do it differently if I did it, but there's a big cluster of capacitors down here where I think they've struggled to get the right value, so they've put 3 in parallel to get the correct value. But it's got these valves, and they've got like a little dimple on them on the side and a big spike, and they plug in. I can't remember what they're called now, but there is a name for them. It's quite a nice little click as they go back in. So it's a lovely looking radio, so I thought I was going to be able to recap and do everything on this one myself, but someone's got there before me, and you can see all these yellow ones. It's been recapped totally. There's a couple new resistors been put in. So if we get a chance a bit later, we'll get the lamp limiter out and stick it on the variac, see what it does. Hopefully it don't go bang. No, it won't do. Lock tool, that's it. That's the word I was looking for, lock tool valves. Yeah, it is scary voltages, Graham. As I say, I've got an isolation transformer and a variac down here, and also I've got a lamp limiter. So, you know, I certainly wouldn't recommend anyone else to power one of these things up if they haven't got the gear to do it. The other thing is, if you do power an old Volve setup, just whack it straight in the mains and turn it on. And I think it's the grid coupling capacitor, isn't it, on the last, on the output valve, I believe. If that's gone, it can wreck your output transformer. So there's work you need to do first, really, before you switch one of these on, especially if it's precious. So what else have we got then? What else has come in this week? Lots has come in. I've made one purchase myself, and that is this. Oh, the mains filter cap can go bang, can it? Yes, yeah, of course it can. Yeah, you really need to bring the power up. So any grid cap that goes leaking will damage a valve. Folks, we release the genie. Obviously, people viewing this can't see the chat afterwards, so it is good that people can join me. Yeah, Bill, the Hunter is amazing, isn't it? Can the Ultra radios be upgraded to DAB? Jess, I expect you can. I expect you can upgrade them to DAB. Well, I wouldn't say upgrade them, downgrade them to DAB, you mean, don't you? Yeah, you want to make them sound worse. I'm sure Andy, Vintage Electronics Repair, has got lots to say about DAB. I won't say what he called the last one in that he repaired. Well, it was a turd, wasn't it, Andy? It was a turd. Anyway, yeah, this I bought in because it was dirt cheap, to be fair. It was really cheap. And there's reasons for it being cheap. The first and main reason is these are the wrong knobs. You'll notice these are the knobs off of Sovereign 2, which is totally wrong. Oh, cheers, Sean. Family duties to attend. All right, mate. Thanks for joining us, Sean. I've got about 45 minutes and then I'm on my way up the pub myself. So I might drop back in later and do this Valve radio. You never know. So anyway, yeah, got this one cheap. It's a Hacker Mini Herald RP17. They did two of these. They did the RP17 and the 17A. This is the 17, which uses the old PP7 batteries, which are these. And the newer one, the RP17A, used the PP9 batteries like that. So this is one of the earlier ones. Now, there is also a little bit missing off of the display there. You can see there's a bit missing off of there. But luckily, the reason I bought this, you normally wouldn't buy one if it's got the wrong knobs on it, but as Bill will tell you, I've got a 3D printer, and that is the knobs that should be on it. Now these are just pretty much hot off the printer. They've got to have all this backing taken off of them, all this like scaffolding's got to be taken off, and I've got to put a disc in the front of it. I think I've got one here. No, I don't think I have. Yeah, basically it's got to have like a bright like that in the middle of it to finish it off. So I've got some aluminium ones in the other room in my spares bits and pieces that just sit right over the top of that. So that's the bits that I use. What are you saying there, Bill? Where do I get my brass knob centers? Well, there's a seller on eBay that makes them. I'm just going to see if I've got the silver one here. Ah, right, okay. That is what the bright should look like. I mean, I think this one uses the silver ones, not the gold ones. Yeah, basically that sits in and it sits on top of that. I mean, I've made this exactly the same size. But yeah, Bill, there's a seller on eBay that makes these. I mean, there's one in here that I can show you, one of the brass ones for the Roberts R200s and that. And they come in wrapped in toilet paper because they're very prone to scratching. But yeah, that's what you're looking at, Bill, isn't it? One of the ones for the old Roberts R200s, R300s. Now I've got one of those here to hand. Now it's buried a bit too deep. But yeah, that's the gold ones. I mean, you can't get silver ones. I managed to find a mirror fixing kit from a seller in China that fitted. Incidentally, Bill, I think I've sorted you one of those chicken head knobs for your RP10. So I'll be in touch. I've got a mate that's trying to 3D draw those at the moment for me, so that will come eventually. So anyway, I digress. That's what I'm going to do with these. So they'll get. I might print some actual white ones. These are like what they call natural color, and I did print Bill a couple of these for his RP10. So hopefully we got some chicken head knobs. Well, I think you only need one, Bill, don't you? Because I think I've only got one spare one. But leave that with me. I will get that done at some stage. So the rest of this radio, the handle's there, which is rare on these. It's got an early serial number as well, 5733. And it's grubby as hell. It's real dirty. It needs a good clean, but that's not an issue. And it looks like the grill's a bit loose. So far, really, the only issue is the top panel paint loss and the knobs. You'll also notice that there's a bit of a difference here along this edge. So this top is sloping down. Now, I would suggest that at some stage it's been dropped and this side has dropped down. There is a 3D scanner available, Bill, but it gives a pretty rough output, and you've got to tidy it up a massive amount. But yeah, you can put a 3D scanner you can scan. So what's happened with this is it's been dropped on here. Now it was already like this in the pictures, so I can't complain, although the packaging was pretty bad on this. It arrived in a Strongbow cider box, Strongbow canned cider box, which wasn't brilliant. So what's happened is in there it's bent the this top panel down a bit. But looking at the inside, this is earlier again. This is earlier than the Sovereign 1 even, I think. So this is probably very early 60s, if not late 50s. The hacker must have got the home service on it and the radio names. Yeah, this has got Third, Light, Home, Hilversum, Athlone. So yeah, some real old stations on this one. I'm going to power this one up in a minute. So looking at the inside, it looks to be all there. It uses two PP7s, as I said. So they'll just fit in there. I think it could sit in that way round. So the PP7s will sit in there. As I say, I have got someone that manufactures these, so Andrew, if you're watching, mate, drop me the email with the info on how to get hold of these, because I've got someone that might be able to supply these. Because somebody sent me an email saying they're about 20 quid at the moment on eBay if you want a PP7. Obviously I make them, so if you want I can make you one like that. This is just one that I use. It's got three PP3s in parallel there. So if anyone wants those, I don't think they're on eBay at the moment because I haven't got round to making any recently. But yeah, just basically I think I've got a video out there that shows how I put these together. Yeah, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but 3 PP3s do fit in there. And I've sent those all over the world, so they are popular. Yeah, this is really well made again. The amplifier is a bit different. We've got an output filter on this, an output transformer. We've also got a rectifier that's jammed in between the two output transistors. So this is early technology. It's also full of AF-117s. I've got 1, 2, I think there's 2, I think there's 4 in here altogether, because I think there's a couple underneath this shield. So the likelihood is this isn't going to work. I'm going to connect this up. I'm not sure on the power supply on this, whether it's wired. It must be wired in series, but I don't know how they've done it. So I'm going to power it up with both sides of my power supply. That's 2 9-volts, isn't it? Not 2 18s. I want it to go bang on, bang live. Let's get that down to 9. Current limit down. Okay. Lots of leads. Yeah, it should be in series, Bill, I think. But just for ease of doing it, I'm going to connect it up with these. So again, with these old transistor radios, if you get one that's been stood for many years, really the same applies with a valve radio. You should really have some sort of current limited supply to fire it up with, because you can damage it. If you damage those output transistors, they are expensive. Right, we're good to go. What do you reckon? Should we put some some power up it. Should we fire it up? Watch for the magic smoke. Another light there. Actually, I might light it up a little bit better as well. Okay, watch for where the smoke comes out of. No, it should be okay. I've got a current limited supply. Things to watch out for are these red capacitors. I think it's Elka modes they are. Or was it TCC? One of the two. I think it's TCC, isn't it? There's my power supply coming off there. This is a horrible, these clips are not good at all for the proper leads like I've got on the other one really. And you can see from this that we've got some muck coming out the end of those. See if I've got something a bit better to point with. You'll probably notice on this one we've got some crusty stuff coming out the end of it. So that one's had it. It is TCC, these are. And also in the amplifier, that one's got gunge coming out of it. That one's got gunge coming out of it. And just for good measure, I think that's a Plessy down there. Well, no, that could be an Elka mode, I don't know. But it's horrible capacitors they used in these. And at the top here is where we've got our AF-117s. We've got two in there, and I think there's one or two underneath this shield. So let's put it on minimum volume. Okay. Well, immediately the current limit's cut in on that. So I've got 160 milliamps really on minimum volume. That's with it. It's gone down to 0.7 of a volt. So that is a no-go. It doesn't work. And I didn't expect it to work for 1 minute, to be honest. I could bash away at the AF-117s. I expect they're shorted to earth. Short to the negative. So there's quite a few jobs to do in this before it goes. Let's just get a screwdriver and whip that battery cover off and have a look inside a minute. Let's see if we can see our other AF-117. It's got a little clip as well, just to make it even more interesting. Yes, we've got one more AF-117 here. So we've actually got 3 AF-117s in it. I thought there was 4, but I don't think there's any more lurking. So that's capacitors and AF-117s. The other thing is these have got a nice bit of screwdrivering done to them. They've got plastic cores, so it's been twiddled to hell. So it's going to have a full alignment as well. Let's get that. Where's that screw gone? Come on. There he is. So yeah, it's going to have a full alignment and all the rest of it done, but apart from that, not too bad. You can certainly see where it's bent here. So it's just going to be a case of giving it some welly and bending it back. Yeah, that's a pretty low serial number, 5733. So there you are. That's that'll come up nicely, I reckon. That, provided I can get this faceplate off without damaging the lettering, which is nigh on impossible, then it should come up really nice. Let's pop that back in there for now. So that was my purchase of the week. So I'm not sure what you think of that, but I do like these radios. It's a lovely little looking radio. If you look at the size of it compared to the Sovereign 2, you can see it is quite tiny for a hacker. So I think well, it's not their smallest radio, because later on they made the Ranger and that sort of stuff, but early days that was quite compact for a hacker transistor radio. Right. So what else have I got in this week? Okay, well, I've had a couple radios donated to me. So first of all is this one, and this is Farad has given me these. He's given me 2 radios. Just donated them really to see if I can get them going. This is a PAM. You can just about make it out there. I would assume that at some stage there was some colour in that. It's a plastic radio. It's not the PAM that you would recognise from the early transistors. This was when, I think, didn't PAM get taken over by Pi and then Pi by Philips, and so this is probably a Philips radio badged as PAM. Whether it's British made or not, I don't know. I've not looked up any info on this yet, and I've not tried it. All right, let's just get myself back to the chat. Yeah, those ferrites are very hard to get now. Those longer ones. Some of them use a 10-inch ferrite. I think it's the Dynatron Nomad uses a 10-inch ferrite, which was as big as this radio. So I don't know a lot about this radio. I've never had one before. Never powered one up. But it's don't think because of that grill it's restorable. You can do, Graham. One of my viewers, he's gone now, Sean, actually made me a piece of wood, and you can actually use a hot iron and go over them with a hot iron, and that will flatten them out quite well. But other than that, you've just got to bend them. But this one's probably not going to be restorable because of the fact we've lost a piece of the aluminium grill. So unless I can find some more material that looks like that, of that size, and I've got some Roberts grills, but they're not quite big enough. Look, that's Roberts Revival grills. So I suspect this one will just have to be used for spares. Okay, so in the back, this tells a bit of a story, doesn't it? This dates it actually earlier than I thought. Yeah, this is actually a PAM radio. Yeah, it could well be, Mike. It could be a Pi, because I think Pi owned PAM. In fact, so I know they did because they brought out, I mean, I've got an old Pi radio down there that's a rebadged PAM. The reason we can tell that this is an early radio is because we've got AF-117s in it again. 1, 2, 3 AF-117s. Looks like all the rest are either AC or OC types. And I would assume this is a 9 volt, but I'm not 100% sure. It's got these strange battery tags on it. I'm trying to see what model it is. There's nothing in here that says what model it is as far as I can see. I would assume it's 9 volt. So I think we'd better stick some power on it anyway and see. But again, unlikely to work. These capacitors here, can't remember the name of it. Are they Plessis? CCLs they are, something like that. Yeah, I agree with you there, Bill. That took me by surprise. I expected some like Japanese circuit board in there, but that is an old radio. I would say this is 1960s. Still can't see any name on it. I've got a serial number. So look underneath this bit of foam, that might tell us what it is. Nope, nothing in there either. It has got, it's got a rounded battery holder, which would suggest something like a that sort of size battery. So that fits in that cutout. Now I know they did make some weird and wonderful batteries back here. Yeah, very could well be, Mike. Definitely 60s. Could be as late as 69. Probably not, because that it could be. Yeah, because they still did use some AF-117s then. I'm wondering whether that's 4.5 volt batteries, not 9. Let's stick some power on it, shall we? Yes, proper that is, Jess. Not these modern ones are rubbish, those little plastic things. Really, once one of them goes, you've got to throw the radio away. At least with this, the only thing that can go wrong with it is the dial core can break, or it can jam up. So I'm going to put my voltage down to 4.5. Stick some power on it. I'm not sure, this must be the that's on and off there. Is that on and off? No, I think that's the wave. That's a tune in. That's obviously the volume. I think possibly the on-off switch is broken in that because it's not clicking at all. Yeah, I'm not sure, Bill. I know they used some cylindrical batteries, didn't they? That's got some power on it now. Totally dead. Totally dead. So I suspect that's one of these AF-117s here, which is going to be the oscillator one. That one possibly. For those that don't know what I'm doing, AF-117s, sometimes if you tap them, they'll spring into life. But I don't think it's going to happen here because the set's not drawing any current unless I've missed an on-off switch somewhere. We can pump it up in voltage. It's got to 7 volts. I think that should be full volume there, and we're still getting nothing. So I'm just tapping the AF-117s because you get shorts in these, and by tapping them, sometimes you can just free it enough to spring the set into life. But Yeah, I don't know if anyone's can do a Google search on that just to see what what this one actually might be. You're gonna give me a thumbs up for my time, are you, Simon? Cheers, mate. That is dead as a dodo, as they say. We'll try it with 9 volts, see if it'll spring into life, but I doubt it. Nope. Bit more tapping. Nope. Totally dead. Ooh. So it's going to be interesting. Mike, what are you saying? Oh, 1964 Pi 1352A. Could be, Mike. Any idea what voltage it is? Is it 9 volts? It certainly doesn't use a PP9. PP7 would just about go in there, but it'd be a tight squeeze. And it's got like a cylindrical battery compartment, so it looks like a label sat in there at some stage and has come out. But say it's not drawing any current, so it's totally dead. PP4, was that 9 volt Wenlock? Could be that. So thanks to everybody that giving me the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Well, I hope you appreciate it. Yeah, anyway, I'm sure you do. Gives you something to do on a Sunday, doesn't it? So Farad, if you're watching, thanks very much for that one, mate. All right, Tony. Yes, definitely repairable. I would say 100% I can get that radio working. So that's a challenge, isn't it? So by next Sunday, this radio will work. How's that? The internet is very helpful, Bill. Very helpful. Anyway, so that's that one. Lovely little Palm radio. Would have been restorable if I can get something to go in there. It's had a bit of a bash here, but at the end of the day, this is when the plastics first started coming in. Corsair were making plastic radios. Philips were definitely making plastic radios. They look very Japanesey, don't they? But strangely enough, that is going to be a made in England one. Yeah. So yeah, interesting little radio. So thanks again, Farad, for sending me that one up. That's going to be a challenge to get that one going. Where are we doing for time? Yeah, I've got another sort of 15-20 minutes, so let's carry on. This is the next one that Farad sent me. Mark E. Message retracted. I don't know what that is. Mark, I don't know what you said there in your comments, but it looks like YouTube have taken that comment off for some reason. Not me. I'll have to look up PP4 Wenlock because I may be able to make one of those. If it's cylindrical, I've got battery studs. So it must be some sort of cylindrical battery with a snap-on, like a PP9 snap on each end. Yeah, I'm sure I can get something like that made up, but it just have to have one PP3 in it. See if you can get Radio Caroline. I won't get it from here, Mark. Not a hope in hell. I'm way too far away. Radio Caroline, from memory's up in the north somewhere, harboured up, isn't it? I can't remember off the top of my head. So the next one Farad has sent me, and again, this one is restorable. I think it's looking pretty ropey at the moment. It's a Roberts R606. You can hear it in Chiverner, can you, Gary? Hi there, mate. Oh, you're not far from me then, Gary. Chiverner, you're right up on the coast there, aren't you? Oh, it'd be interesting. I'll have to see if I can get that. I'll pull another radio out in a minute if we get a chance and see if I can get it on 648. Oh, you're actually at the airbase, are you? Chiverner's on the way up to Braunton and that, though, isn't it? Just before Braunton. It's a bit nearer the coast to me, I think, Gary. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, this is an R606 Roberts, and it's a little bit different because it's a 606. Most of the radios you see about a 606 MB on the end, mains battery. This is one of the early R606s. Another way you can tell is looking on the base. This has not got the swivel on the bottom. It's just got these plastic feet, and that's original feet as well. The sort of major, well, not major issues. The main issue with it, I suppose, is the grill. I don't know if you can see, it's got a couple nasty dinks in it there. It's a bit grubby, but it'll clean up all right. And we've got a couple of the brights missing off the volume and tuning controls. Apart from that, you've got an Icom 7700. Very nice, Gary. Very nice radio. So you must be a radio ham as well then. Yeah, you must be radio amateur, Gary, to have one of those, I'd have thought, because that's a bit fancy for just listening. You've got to be doing some talking on that one, Gary. Yeah, I've got the 7800 there, Gary. So we'll have to try and have a QSO at some stage. Hi, Jeff. Glad you're enjoying it, mate. Nice to have you on board. So we're running out of time. Let's get some power on this one, shall we? So as I say, it's the R606, not the MB, which is an earlier version. We've got the little panel on the bottom. You just push that down. There's a little bit of foam in there, and up it springs. So straight off, we've got an absolutely knackered battery terminal. Looks like, yeah, it said battery's gone bad in this one, which is a shame, but it's not the end of the world. Now, for those that don't know, you can get this battery tray out by just pulling that lever to one side. And just, cool, is a bit corroded in this. I'll have to wash my hands in a minute and get acid all over them. And out it comes. Yes, I'm probably going to have to make up another bit of brass for that, but that's repairable. We've lost the contact on this side totally, so yeah, I'm not sure if because the later version has got a transformer in it as well, the 606 MB. Anyway, that's shot, that needs sorting. So inside here we've got two modules, LP1181 and LP1185. I'm not sure from memory what they are. One's obviously the IF stage, one could be AM, one could be FM. And we've got FM one up here actually. So that'd be FM, probably AM, IF, and no. I haven't got the manual of this one out. This is just a quick last minute go. So there's nothing really too much that can go wrong with these. These blue Philips capacitors, they're not brilliant. They were back in the day, they were really good, but they do go high, and you can take your outputs out, especially with the ones over by the outputs down in here. I think there's a 640 and a 470 in there. If they short, then you've got some issues. I think it drain your batteries in no time. So let's get some power on this one then. So this is a 9-volt radio, I think. 3, 6, 9 volt, yeah. We're in the off position. So if you look on eBay at some of the listings, you won't see the 606s come up very often. This is the only the second one I've got, I think. I may have 3 of them, but anyway, let's see what happens when we turn it on. We've got aerial looks good, but I won't pull them up. Another thing, if you have got an old radio that hasn't been used for quite some time, just get a bit of deoxit or a bit of WD-40 and just give it a spray. Because if it jams and you try pulling it up, you will actually break all the little copper shims off of it, and you won't be able to use it. I've now sprayed deoxit all over my iPad, look, so I'm sure that'll help. No end. Just wipe that off. Yeah, a nicely deoxidated iPad. Okay. Yeah, I would need a larger workbase. That's quite tall. I can probably print up to about that high build, so I could do it in 2 pieces. But it's never usually the battery trays that are the issue. It's always the contacts. Rob, that has got modules in it, but they're fitted with lock fits, not the AF-117s that we see in the older Robert sets. Okay, let's go for VHF. Let's hit the power on. Absolutely dead. Oh, no, it's the corrosion on that lead. It's humming. But no stations. Cool. Try medium wave. Okay, hang on. Before we go any further, we're going to have to give this one a dose of deoxit. Deoxit isn't used much over here. Most people use Servasol stuff, and I've got some here. Is that it? Yeah. So this is the stuff we tend to use over here. Readily available. Deoxit isn't readily available, and it's hell of a price. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. It's hell of a price. This is about a quarter of the price of that, and it's good stuff. But in my opinion, in my experience, deoxit is better than that. So depends how much of this you do, really. So the only way that we're going to get this radio going quickly is to whip it out the chassis and give it a squirt. And then you might find that it will spring into life. So I'm fast running out of time. I've got a bit of minutes left before I've got to get myself sorted and up the pub. I think my good lady is happy. I'll pop back on a little bit later and we'll try that Volve radio. So that'll also give the viewers in the US time to wake up and get up, although Bill's with us, so fair play to you, Bill. So yeah, you've just got to release 2 screws there, pop the aerial out, just undo that screw, and the chassis will really stick like hell. The chassis are quite difficult to get out on these because these cardboard strips that secure them in get stuck in these channels. So you've got to get something in, unstick them from the side before the radio will come out. You can't really get to the switches until you get it out of the chassis. Right, it's coming out. There we go. Let's get him out of the chassis very quickly. No, he's still stuck in that back corner. I did say I wasn't going to repair radios live, didn't I? I'm sure I did. But you've got to have a go, haven't you? Cool. Is that cardboard thing stuck back in there again? Look. There we go. This one's jammed back in. There we go. One chassis. So I'm 90% sure that the issue with this one is just the switches. So I'm going to give the volume pot a squirt. Excuse me if my head's in the shot. Another go. Sounds better. Let's give all these switches a quick go. And you always put a capacitor over the end of one as well, so you can't get in there. Right. So that's made a mess everywhere now. And let's give the bass and treble a quick squirt while I'm in here. The aux seems to be going mental at the moment. It's got a spray adjustment on it, but seems full on or nothing at the moment. Right. Oh, they're much freer now. Right. I reckon that is going to work now. So how many people think that that's going to work? If I could print a 3D battery holder for Zenith Royal 1000 or 3000, I'd have customers for days or months. I'm sure I could print it, Bill, but I probably would have to print it in two halves with like a little ridge in it so it would slot together. People could slot them together and super glue them, I suppose. Isn't that like the big tube, Bill? Right. Let's do it again. Let's connect the power up again. Still got the speaker wired in, that's why it's sort of hanging in the case there. Normally I'd take it right out. Again, it's a nice size speaker in this one, so these are good sounding radios. And they are pretty cheap, actually, these. Right, what do you reckon? Is it going to work or isn't it going to work? Will she or won't she? Let's stick a clip lead on that aerial because I don't want to extend it on the bench in this position, really. Actually, I'll take that aerial right out. Just clip it on the end of the D-clip. Big box, yeah, it's nicely made as well. It's plywood, none of that MDF rubbish that they use now. Here we go then.
Got to meet him 2 years after on the same park bench. Got to tell him what I had done since then, and he was so humble. I was just doing my job.
There you go.
He wasn't. He wasn't just doing his job. I owe my life. I owe my life.
Let's see if we can get it so you can hear it a bit better.
I still the guy who's been an alcoholic, suicide victim, blah blah blah. I don't know whether I want to ever lose that label.
Containing stories with guitar playing. Now, if you remember...
Conditions apply. Check out Home Reach at bovishomes.co.uk.
It's the last chance to find your perfect sofa in the summer sale at DF.
Headphone wearers beware. I'm going to turn it up.
DFS.
Let's try medium wave.
Before we're getting started.
And how do you feel about the actual structure change?
That's all
Would
I
it
like.
make a difference to you as players?
I think we always want more teams in the league. I think that's always a good thing. So obviously now.
Long wave.
Sharma throwing all that square leg sort of total, and as a result Sharma is off striking, doesn't want to be bowling at Sharma, and I'm not sure how much longer this.
Well, there you go. How about that? Fixed live. Brave stuff, innit, eh? It's not that tinny, Graham, to be fair. That's got a lovely bass sound to it. Yeah, totally. I mean, this is a nice enough radio. But if you got it side by side with a Hacker, any of the Heralds, Sovereign 1, 2, or 3 even, I mean, it's a totally different league, definitely. Yeah, that's my lot for now anyway. Hopefully you've enjoyed that today. Just a quick look. I may come back on later and fire the Volve radio up, see how I get on. Hi Paul, all right mate? Sorry, yeah, you have missed it all, mate. Just about to go. So any final sort of questions before I shoot off? I've also got another radio of Tony's to show you that he's sent in for restoration, which is a Zenith one actually, so that might interest you, Bill. I've got a Zenith, I think it's a Navigator, Bill. Does that ring any bells with you, Zenith Navigator? So I've got one of them to restore, so we can have a look at that one later. I've not powered that up yet, and we can get the Ultra Volve radio out. This one we will fire up later on today, possibly, if I get a chance. And Paul, because you've joined us, that's your amp there, mate. So Paul was after an amplifier for a Hacker. I did have a spare one. I've had to put some capacitors in it to get it going, but that is working now. Just needs the quiescent current doing. And Paul's actually sending me a load of new old stock components, so something to have a look at next Sunday if it arrives this week. So that's it for me now. I'm on my way up the pub for a carvery and a few beers, and I may make it a little bit later. So bye for now. Thanks to everyone for participating in the chat. It always makes it a lot more interesting if there's people involved and interacting, and like to chat to the people that subscribe and watch my channel. So I don't think you can probably see me now, but anyway, bye for now, and catch you all later. See if I can shut this thing off.